Johnny, and all right. Wow. Hold on. Let's just redo that. it.
Great timing.
Already blew it.
You should keep this in.
I'll keep this part in. Okay. Hey everybody, what's up? It's me, your host, Johnny Skywalker, and with me I have DJD Skywalker and Piccinini Skywalker.
May the force be with you.
This is the way.
I will not keep referring to her as Piccinini, by the way. I'm probably I'm gonna try to call her Caitlin as much as possible. But I may refer to her as Chloe. Her as Chloe. But I'm gonna make an announcement here on AnavCast that Torby Travis is moving away from the Toei branding. And so it just doesn't feel right to call Caitlin Chloe when there's no more Toei.
The Toei Chloe Power Hour is officially dead.
I know.
And Joey never got to join.
Yeah.
Joey never got to join.
Wow. And poor Joey.
Someone should call the zoo and be like, we need to talk to Joey.
And let him know that the OE tribe is ended.
Oh, about Joey. Oh my gosh.
For reference for those listening, we all met up and went to San Diego Comic-Con, San Diego TwitchCon. What was it, in 2022?
22, yeah.
22.
And we went to San Diego Zoo. For those who don't know, DJD is a San Diego native. And I've known DJD now more than half my life. And if there's one thing that has been constant in our relationship, is that he will not shut up about the San Diego Zoo.
There's two things. Lost and how
it is superior to every other zoo. I mean, our entire friendship
Which
just
it
being
is.
like it. Well, it's not the San Diego Zoo. So we went to the San Diego Zoo, and while we were there, we had formerly Toei and Chloe, and we ran into a guy named Joey who was working there. And they were like, oh my God, we need to take a picture with you. And he was kind of like, okay. But then when we explained it, he was like super cool about it.
He was like, super into it.
He was
and then he followed us around through the exhibit that we were in and was like giving us all this fun facts about whatever we were looking at, like frogs or something.
Yeah, he like did his regular job that he is supposed to do. Are the people who work at zoos zookeepers? Like just like the normal dude like that?
I think it depends on what you do, because there's also just like, janitors at a zoo. Not everyone's a zookeeper. Right.
I think, I wonder if there's specific criteria that you need to fulfill to be a zookeeper. I feel like there should be, but I'm not sure.
But I also feel like, at least in Japan, not really. Because I had a friend who worked at the zoo and he was totally a college dropout. And he was working at the zoo and he grabbed a monkey and like put it on our shoulder and stuff at this, like he was like just a dude working there. And I was like, how'd you get this job? And he was like, oh, applied.
I don't think it takes a lot of like education.
It says here you need a degree or previous experience as a keeper trainer.
They use the word trainer.
Yeah.
Like Pokemon.
Well, it makes me think of like circuses and stuff, which like they don't like to talk about that.
So if I'm a master Pokemon trainer, do you think that they would hire me as a zookeeper?
Maybe in a fictional Pokemon world.
What I do know is that David and I build really incredible zoos in Zoo Tycoon.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yes. We were supposed to have a Zoo Tycoon stream with Peach, and we've never managed to work out the scheduling.
Were we? I'm not even kidding you. I was literally playing it yesterday.
Again, for those listening, we have a live studio audience, and they just asked for us to introduce ourselves again. I will drop the Skywalker ending. I am Johnny. We have DJD.
Howdy.
And we have Piccinini, who we call Caitlin.
my birth name.
I was going to try to do the Spock thing with my hand, but I can't. So I
can't do this.
I can.
Long and prosper.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever done the Ninja Turtle handshake, where you like do this, but like what? I can't handshake myself? But
it's the visual bit of the audio only podcast. we make sure to have a visual bit every week.
Every single week, yes. You know what our special visual other bit this week is? That Farmer is in here. Farmer Skywalker. He sadly,
True. He's lost
Busy
his
fighting,
Skywalker privileges.
I'm just losing it because I also didn't introduce Craig. Also back there in the booth, in the sound booth, we have the one, the only Craig Skywalker.
He's an acolyte.
He was working on the Acolyte. He was a sound engineer on the Acolyte. Look in the credits
Really?
for Craig. We've not really gone through this since originally airing, but David is the self-elected leader of ANAV. But he really is the OG. For those who don't know, David is not the founder of ANAV. ANAV was an organization before he joined, which he quickly moved up the ranks and disposed of the founders. They're gone.
True. Yeah. I bribed a lot of money to become the leader, and then I Columboed them and took over.
They're gone. Disposed of. And so now David is the self-elected and undisputed leader of ANAV. But Caitlin joined a few years ago, recently, and I was forced to join.
True. Yes.
I resisted for many years.
You resisted probably 6-7 years or something? Because I think you joined I don't know,
not
6
too
or 7
long
years after Farmer.
I joined while you guys were on Mixer. I kind of officially joined.
But
it's interesting.
So that was
it's interesting. I resisted because I was like, no, I'm not joining your nerd club. Nah, I'm not going to join your nerd club.
It's what I prefer to call it, by the way.
Beam?
Beam.
I know, yeah. The David and Farmer streamed on Mixer before they moved to Twitch and convinced me to join. But I wanted to join ANAV in the way that Batman joined the Justice League in the animated series, where he's like, I'm part-time. I'm not really a part of this, but I'm around,
And you hold everyone's dark secrets to use against them. It's fine.
Yeah. And I wasn't able to continue. And I kept that up, like David said, for 6 years. I was like, no, I'm not a part of this. And here we are, how many years later? I mean, this is episode 39 of this podcast.
That's crazy.
It's insane to think. I'm so glad that we did seasons of 10 because it's super easy to count.
It's so easy. Yeah. No, it would be awful if we didn't. Thank God. I brought this up right before we started. Our last episode was pretty Star Wars heavy, but I have a Star Wars topic I would like to bring up. David, can you confirm something for me? I think maybe we even talked about it on the podcast. One of the criticisms of the Star Wars Outlaws game that is not yet out is that you can cross the open world on a speeder bike in 10 minutes. Is that true?
I heard something about that, but also there's multiple planets, so I don't know if it's the same or whatever. I don't know.
We got someone here. My criticism of Outlaws is that it's by Ubisoft. That's very valid.
That's very
valid criticism.
But if you think about it, and from Ubisoft, right? So if you've ever played Assassin's Creed back before they changed their whole setup, those maps were relatively small. But again, They didn't feel small.
This is Star Wars open world, though. This is open world Ubisoft, and this is Massive as well, who has done open world games too. And so, this is probably going to be a pretty similar kind of game in terms of the open world aspect of it. That said, it's Star Wars, so I know I'm going to love it. Put a new skin on it that I am already invested in, and I'm good. My problem with Valhalla was I just wasn't invested.
My problem with I guess one of the things that I thought about this right before I came here was because I was watching some Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom content on YouTube. Exactly. Open world doesn't mean much if the world is empty, like GTA 5. But I was thinking, the Hyrule map in Tears of the Kingdom, I bet you could cross it in 10 minutes on a hover bike. How you could make the two fans with the control stick. I bet in 10 minutes you can get across the whole thing. I mean, I haven't actually tested it. I just thought about it right before coming here. But that map is huge, right? And not only is it huge, there's a ton of stuff. It doesn't feel empty at all. There's a ton of stuff to be doing. And so I guess my thought about it is I'm actually kind of excited for the Star Wars Outlaws game, but I'm whatever. We'll see how it is.
Okay, so it's 5 minutes apparently is how long it takes.
Oh,
That is pretty short.
But the map is around 3 times the size of the Assassin's Creed Odyssey map zones for
fine.
I didn't play
various
Odyssey.
places, and so like that's pretty big still.
I feel like having a ginormous map that is hard to traverse or get across would deter me more. Like, especially if it's going to be an open world game. I think about Skyrim, which this map isn't necessarily huge, but it's not necessarily always the easiest to traverse. And so it makes me less likely to want to go out and do those random side quests. I have no interest in it. I'm like, okay, we're sticking to the main story. I'm going to get through this.
Well, that's the thing, too. Like, Valhalla, I wouldn't say Valhalla was an empty world, but Valhalla just, like, none of the side quests I cared about at all. I mean, like,
Right.
there was plenty of stuff to, like, in every direction, but none of it seemed to matter, you know? And I think that's just as bad as having an empty world with nothing.
And if you have to travel super long to get there, then there's definitely no incentive to go out and do it.
But it's
Sure.
interesting because I feel like Zelda, between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they did a really good job of making it not feel that way. That was my favorite
Sure.
part.
I would agree.
Was
Yeah.
like getting from point A to point B. Like there's so much stuff to do, but also like weirdly interesting stuff. Like I definitely didn't do all the shrines or get all the Koroks. I didn't do anything like that in the game, but I definitely got distracted quite often from the thing. And that map also not easy to traverse, right? Between like weather stuff and everything else. I don't know. I don't know. It can be done well.
Probably why I didn't finish
we'll
that
see.
game.
I'm excited because it's Star Wars, so I mean, like, I'm sure I'll love
Yes.
it. But like, I could see some of those criticisms being pretty valid.
I also think people will complain about anything. So
This is true.
Sure.
I brought it up to Daniel right before we started, and he said that he feels that people have other specific issues and they're just trying to find issues with the game at this point to be unhappy with it.
I think it's called like veiled criticisms or something like that. There's a term for that I recently learned. But yeah, like that's always been like an annoyance of mine is when someone like veiling critiques is what it's called. And like I think the same happened with Acolyte too. Like I had that employee of mine who was like always telling me like, you know, the latest criticism of the Acolyte from his spheres, and all of them were just like, there's some valid criticisms to be made, but like a lot of the ones that he would bring up, not all of them, but a lot of the ones he would bring up would be just nonsense. Like it's just, yeah, it's frustrating to see someone who has an emotional reaction to something, and instead of like trying to figure out why they feel a certain way about it, they try looking for reasons to dislike it, like externally. And I feel like that happens a lot.
It's interesting because I actually talked with a friend here, and he had asked if I'd seen Acolyte, and I said no, and he was pretty down on it. And like, oh, it was terrible. He also really hates Rings of Power, which like I kind of get because he really loves Lord of the Rings, and Rings of Power, not great. But it's interesting in the sense of talking with him. I wonder if I'm just more willing, because one of the things he brought up was things like not making sense or like things not being written well and da-da-da and da-da-da. And what I brought up to him is I was like, well, you know, maybe it won't bother me because, you know, I do watch like the Fast and Furious movies and think they're great.
Yeah.
I feel like I am very much willing to let something be fun, right? Yeah, exactly. I'm not like being weird about it. No, like they're great movies. Like as long as I'm having fun, it doesn't need to be everything, right? All movies don't need to be everything to all people, or like all media, I guess, doesn't need to be everything to all people. So I'd meant to watch some of the Acolyte this week, and I didn't get a chance to. Trying to prepare some kind of Star Wars stuff, but this ended up working out. And also, I've got a great comment in here going back to open world games. And just so you know, to those in our studio audience, I am trying to avoid saying your name just because I don't know if you would feel comfortable with me saying your screen name on our podcast. But they're bringing up that they're having a lot of fun with Red Dead 2's open world, because you can have a lot of fun, you know, and ignore the main quests. And I brought up there, I hunted a ton in that game.
Yeah.
I actually never fully finished the main quest line. I know what happens in the main quest line. Oh, thank you, Ventus. I appreciate it. I'm gonna just refer to Ventus as Ventus now. But I never finished the main quest line. I think I ended up reading it, but I just got so lost in hunting that it was hard for me to remember what the game actually was.
Right. It was a world where, oh my gosh, honestly, that's probably been, in my opinion, like a masterpiece game that'll probably like forever be in like my top. It should be in my top 10, actually. I don't think I have it in my current list. But like the fact that you could like immerse yourself in that game and just live in that world and just do whatever, especially like in the online or whatever, like that was so cool. That was just an incredible experience. I really, really wish it had gotten the support it deserved.
I really wish that too. DJD and I spent in Farmer, we would just meet up and just play poker. Like the three of us. We would just be playing poker like for hours. We would meet up and just like almost as if we were actually meeting up and playing poker together as friends, right? Like we're just like sitting there with our headsets on, playing poker, having a good time. It was fantastic.
I mean, that is actually what was happening, technically.
Kind of. Well, it's interesting you bring that up because that's what I've brought up to my father-in-law. My father-in-law wanted to spend some more time with my son, his eldest grandchild. But he's like, oh, I'm technologically not savvy. And so what they were doing was they were FaceTiming each other and playing the board game Battleship.
That's
because
so
we both
cool.
have it. And this works, but then you would run into these things that he has a lot of hearing loss, so he can't clearly hear these things and this stuff. And I brought up to him, I was like, if you buy a Switch, like Battleship is on the Switch, and you guys could just play it and be like in a voice chat and talk that way too. It's like literally the same thing, right? And
Battleship is a perfect game for that.
It really is. Battleship's a perfect game for it.
Not Risk though.
Not Risk. Yeah. What would you guys say are some of your? I don't want to say like your top because that puts a lot of pressure. But what are some of your favorite open world games? Because Red Dead 2, what a great open world game! I loved loading into Red Dead Online and just shooting David's horse in the head immediately.
Oh my god!
It's
just
ridiculous.
murdering his horse.
And you say I hate horses.
One of our friends, he would do this thing. He called it making unicorns, that he would throw a hatchet and it would stick to your horse's head, so it would have like a horn. And he would be like, "I'm going to unicorn your horse," and we would be like, "No, no, 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 no." But what are some open world games that you guys love? Ventus right here, Fallout 3, 4, and New Vegas. I have been resisting going back to play Fallout 4 because the show was so good it made me want to play it again. And I'm like, no, Johnny, you don't like the Fallout aesthetic. You don't like it. Don't do it.
Fallout's definitely one of my favorites too. I think the biggest issue with me is, as much as I love open world games and I love that option, those are always the games I never finish. But Horizon, top notch. Loved that.
Really? I've not played that one.
I'm really enjoying my time in Horizon. I just started, and on Wednesdays at Twitch TV /DJ. I totally messed up, but that's fine.
Terrible self-plug.
Twitch.tv/DIJADI.
But yeah, I've been really enjoying that. Oh gosh, I think Sea of Thieves, for what it is actually a really fantastic open world.
That's a really fun one too. Yeah. We need Sea of Thieves with airships. We talked about this in season 1, I think. We're like, when are they going to make Sea of Thieves, but it's airships? Why don't we do a triple level here? On top, under the water, and in the air. Please, someone make this. I will give you at least $10. At least 10. Please, someone. Oh, it would be so good. For me, I don't know. I mean, I've been talking about, that's Tears of the Kingdom. Exactly. Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, I really loved. But there's this weird thing at least for those two, that I don't feel like I can go back to them. I never like 100% of them. I don't usually 100% games. I usually like 90% them, right? 95%. Do the main story, do most of the side missions, but like I don't go for all the collectibles and stuff like that, right? Like the stuff that's really in the details, I'm not about it. Tears of the Kingdom, though, what a good game. Is The Witcher 3 an open world game? I feel like it is. It just has multiple zones. I also really loved that game.
I think any game would be open world if like you don't have to follow a linear story, right? If you can choose to go off and do whatever missions in whatever order you want, I would consider that open world.
But there is a linear story in The Witcher 3, but it's like the main quest, right? The main
Same
story.
with Skyrim.
Right.
True.
Yeah, that's true. You know what's an excellent open world? Elite Dangerous, I feel like.
What a great game.
I've still never played it.
Is Jedi Survivor an open world game?
Like, that's the interesting thing, because there's games that have, like, zones, right? And those zones are open world. And then you travel between those zones. So I feel like yes, but I mean, like, that's an interesting question.
Well, Witcher 3 is kind of like that, though, right? They have two big zones, and then you can go between these two zones. But like, I feel like, yeah, Jedi Survivor also has zones and such, and I really liked that game. I really loved Arkham City, the Batman Arkham City game.
Yeah. I would actually say that I know I'll get flack for this, but also Suicide Squad has a great like open world in terms of that. Like, there might be other problems with Suicide Squad, but like the open world is pretty great. I totally understand grouping Star Citizen and Elite Dangerous together. I totally understand unfairly grouping those together. I totally get that. Sorry.
Star Citizen. No. It's a great comment. So Ventus brought up that he groups Star Citizen and Elite Dangerous. Before I moved to Japan, so this was like, 12 years ago, I had a coworker, or maybe 11 years ago, put down $1,000 on like a Star Citizen pre-order to get some special ship. And I still think about that, how that game's not out. And I don't know if they're playing, I don't know, but I just remember him being like, Star Citizen may or may not have like 1,100 of my dollars so that I can get da when it comes out. That's just so wild. It's been 11 years, you know?
Yeah.
And the fact that like that it's not a finished game is just insane.
It's been a long time for sure. Everything that I see in terms of clips and stuff looks really cool, but for it to not be a game that's fully out yet, I wonder if it'll ever be able to like live up to the hype that it's generated after being like in progress for so long. I feel like that's an impossible task.
At this point, in my opinion, maybe it'll just never fully release, right? Like, it's just gone too far. Like, what would be 1.0? Even, I don't know. I actually know someone who plays the game. But I haven't seen them post about it in a while. In Elite Dangerous now, we're going to make this an Elite Dangerous fan podcast. In Elite Dangerous, you can leave your ship and walk around on the station or like on the planet. You can get out and walk around. It's incredible. David and I actually got to experience something we had dreamed of experiencing for years, in that we met up in a station, and I was sitting at the bar in the station, and David came in and sat next to me. Crazy. It was incredible. Big fan, you guys. Anyone not playing Elite Dangerous, do it. Don't play it on the console because they stopped supporting it. Play it on the PC.
I was actually just pulling it up on stream right now, or on Steam.
Ventus has brought up No Man's Sky has made more progress compared to Star Citizen. No Man's Sky is a hard one because I played No Man's Sky really early when they released on console, and I understand now, and this is a good thing to bring up because Ventus also said in progress is the norm. One of the problems with like in progress games that I have is when you play them, if they're not great, you're like, oh yeah, I played it, it wasn't that great. But it's also hard for me to go back to No Man's Sky because like I have an image of what that game is. And then even like I go back to it and it's like, oh, it's super different now. There's all this new stuff. There's this stuff. There's this stuff. But like to me, I'm like, I don't understand any of this. Like I've played a lot of hours in this game, and like it's a completely different game. And I don't know, it makes it mentally hard for me to want to go back to it. It makes it hard for me to want to learn. For me, the least fun part about the game is learning it, right? So when you have a game that you learned how to play and then they're like, oh, actually, it's totally different now. I'm not so pumped to be like, I have to learn how to play this game again. Like, really? Kind of a deal.
But also, like, I wonder too, like, if sometimes, like, knowing what a game is and then having massive changes, like sometimes like makes those changes like seem more impactful. Like I wonder if someone could walk into Elite Dangerous like Peach is about to do and not be all that impressed by the ability to walk around because like, you know, most space stations look the same or whatever, and like most like outposts are kind of like a little generic looking maybe. But for you and me who have like what 10 years in that game or something like that. Like I mean like
amount of time.
Yeah,
it's an actually
tons
embarrassing
of
amount
hours.
of time.
Like it literally was like opening our eyes, you know, and being able to see like blue sky, you know, like it was crazy for us. But I feel like it wouldn't necessarily have that same amount of impact. And I wonder if there's other like things about like certain games like that, where like you're so used to seeing a game as it is that like when it changes significantly, like it really kind of like turns your world around. Like Fortnite kind of did that to me, right? And it took me a little bit of time to get over it. Because like I got the Save the World like $120 edition twice.
OG Fortnite.
I mean, like,
OG
Fortnite.
Yeah.
OG Fortnite as a like, you know, a fortress builder, like, you know, kind of thing. And then it pivoted to Battle Royale. And that kind of like took me a little bit of time to like come to terms with because I just wasn't expecting that.
I guess to me, and I mean, there's like never going to be Fortnite 2, right? Like, that's just not probably ever going to be a thing. But that's what sequels are for, too. Like, on one hand, it's super cool that people don't have to pay and buy No Man's Sky 2, which is going to be even better. But, like, you know, it's one of those things. Why did Destiny get a sequel? Why is there Destiny 2?
It doesn't feel like a sequel to the base game. Yeah.
Right. It doesn't. But I feel like that's a constraint of, like, hardware. More than anything.
Right. It was because they're leaving behind the 360 era, right? Yeah. And the same with Destiny 3. They'll be leaving behind the PS4, Xbox One era with Destiny 3. Overwatch 2 is a sequel. This is true. I've not played Overwatch 2.
They're about to bring back 6v6, apparently.
Do you keep all of your skins in Overwatch if you had Overwatch 1?
I believe so.
I don't know. I know initially they said they were going to transfer them, but I have no idea. I know for Smite 2 that they'll transfer over a bunch of your skins.
I haven't played Overwatch since the Rio Olympics in 2016. That was the last time I really played Overwatch.
Because you have the skins.
Yeah, because I have the skins from it. Actually, hold on. I played it in 2017 because that was the year of the Rooster. I have some skins from that too. But like that was the last time I was really playing Overwatch.
Going back to Fortnite for a second and the sequel and all that, and how there will never be a Fortnite 2. Do you remember when Fortnite Chapter 2 dropped?
No.
Oh my gosh, it was wild. It was like, so like it very much seemed like, wait a second, they're dropping a new Fortnite and everything? Like the world went, like the entire servers went down for like a week or something like that. And like you couldn't play, and it was wild. Yeah. And like maybe it was less than a week, maybe it was just like a day or two, but it felt like a week. But like also like your icon changed to Chapter 2 and everything, and it very much felt like Fortnite 2 just came out. And it's like, it hasn't even been that long for Fortnite 1. What the heck? And then like, yeah, it very much was like a transition.
I am really bad at keeping track of like the chapter, like Fortnite with like their seasons and then chapters and stuff. It's too much for me. I don't really understand what's happening or what in each thing. I'm just like, listen, I just want to shoot some 10-year-olds, you know, when I play Fortnite. That's what I want to do. I want to find
or be shot
ideally
by them.
kids. Man, you know, I played with my son and with his cousin and playing in those lobbies because they're both 10. Like, you know, because there's some matchmaking skill stuff going on. I was like a god. I think I got 25 kills in one of the games. Like, it was crazy. I was just like, this is what's up. And then I played a game, I think, with like Travis and Daniel or something. And that was brutal. Like, man, the people in that game, they were just like, it was rough. It was rough.
Well, and then there's playing a game with Farmer where, you know, good luck.
We got this in from Ventus. Overwatch promised a lot for its sequel and delivered on half of it. The problem is with true. Overwatch 2, in my opinion, as someone who's not played it and someone who doesn't watch Overwatch, right? So this is just an uneducated opinion. it looks the same. Like
it does look very much.
If I look at if I can't tell that someone's playing Overwatch 2 from Overwatch, like if someone's streaming it.
Now you can, because there's like that was one of the things that they changed, that they had promised was like that Overwatch 1 would remain up, and then they shut it down when Overwatch 2 came out. And it's like, okay, well, I guess that won't happen. I think it still was a huge mistake, and I understand why, like, you know, constraints or whatever, and like sizing back their team and like all that. But like for them to not actually capitalize on the fact that like these are interesting characters by having single player content or whatever, or like more story based stuff, was like a huge letdown. That's honestly like half the reason why I won't play Overwatch 2, is because I was really looking forward to all of the like story based stuff, and then just nothing. And like, I don't know, like Concord kind of has my interest because it seems like there's more of that. But like also Concord is only on PlayStation, and like, yeah. So,
well, I'm a PC gamer now with my Steam Deck, so you know, maybe I'll. Is it not on PC either?
No.
Sad.
It's only PlayStation, I think. But yeah, no, exactly, Ventus. Like there's a lot of compelling characters in Overwatch. There's also inklings of a really interesting world and story that they could do a lot with, and they just don't. And sure, it might be like team constraints and all that, and like, you know, like having to choose what to prioritize, but like also like that really stinks to like have like this rich world that you're never going to explore. And maybe eventually they will, but I mean,
but also they're the company that like engineered loot boxes, and like I'm sorry, but Activision, Blizzard, and like Microsoft be like the whole like, listen, we don't have the budget. I'm just like, sure you don't. Like, sure you don't. Like, if you don't have the budget, who does? You know what I mean? Like, you got Concerned Ape on Stardew Valley just pushing out content like crazy. And it's like, come on. Like, no, I very much agree. Like, it would be really cool. But I think maybe so this is just, you know, a possibility here of like, you know, maybe they don't want to do it because they can't do it well.
Yeah, it's possible. Like, you know what? Like, it kind of hurt a little bit, but the creators of Avowed basically just said recently in a podcast that they're not going to do romance at all, even though it's like a Skyrim, like kind of like open world, kind of like, you know, RPG, fantasy RPG. Obsidian came out and said, yeah, we're not going to do romances in this game because, you know what? If we can't do them as well as we want to, we don't want to like waste resources, and we can't do them as well as we want to right now. So, you know, like, I appreciate that level of honesty, I guess, when it comes down to it.
Well, but also I feel like in today's climate with games, doing something not well is worse than not doing it at all.
Sure, I would agree. Yeah.
Ventus is saying, I feel there's so many cooks in the pot for Blizzard nowadays. I feel that you can't do anything artist focused.
I'm hoping that changes. I'm hoping that with Microsoft's whole, like with Xbox specifically, not Microsoft, I feel like there needs to be a distinction there now, because Microsoft is very much about like making money, right? Like that seems to be
Microsoft is still trying to bounce back from that thing that happened a few weeks ago.
That CloudStrike thing. Yeah. But Xbox seems very much like in the market of like, hey, if you want to do something cool and artsy, we're going to support you as best we can. And so like, I'm hoping that changes a little bit and gives Blizzard a little bit more like leeway to be able to do what they want to do, rather than just what maximizes profits. But we'll see. It's still early on in that relationship, so we'll see how it pans out.
Oh, D, here we go. Hi-Fi Rush did well, and the studio still got canceled. Ventus.
I think
Ventus.
Man,
you just triggered David. You just triggered David. Yep.
No, not triggered necessarily. Like, I could see looking at that and thinking that for sure. But like, I think there's a lot of factors that go into that. And we discussed this on the earlier episode, so I don't want to go like too much heavy on it. But like, with that particular studio, like losing their like game director or whatever, the head of studio, and some of their other higher ups and stuff, and that being part of the reason why Microsoft bought that studio, like I could see them, you know, closing it down. They had already finished one game. They were pitching a new one. Like, if Microsoft didn't like the pitch there, and if they had like already lost like their visionary, their leader, one of the main reasons they bought that studio, that's a really tragic thing. But when it comes down to it, like, sometimes those decisions are more nuanced than just like, we're just shutting something down for no reason. Because ultimately, I don't think that happens very often where something is just shut down for no reason.
I like the idea that it was just shut down for no reason. I like the idea that they were just like, hey, you guys made this hit game. Guess what? Y'all are freaking... I'm glad for you. Because, it can go on your resume. Wink face. And they're like, why are you saying it can go on our resume? No reason. No reason. Yeah. I've totally forgot about this game, Avowed. I'm looking at this cover art. Like, I just did a Google search. Looks super sweet, dude.
Yeah, it seems pretty cool.
When does it come out? It just says 2024. We're like halfway through 2024. There's not a date?
No, probably November, but like hard to tell. Maybe December. We'll see.
I feel like it would be very popular right now with like everyone coming down from Baldur's Gate and stuff like that.
Oh, no, I agree. Yeah. Oh, of course. Have a good one. But I was going to say...
Thanks for hanging out.
Start to wrap some stuff up. Is there anything anyone wants to bring up in closing? Specifically, Caitlin, is there anything you would like to chat about in closing?
Go see Deadpool and Wolverine.
Go see Deadpool and Wolverine.
I personally haven't seen it yet. I'm going on Tuesday, but go see
it.
See, but this is like going to be a good point here. We got it. Pyro says she watched it this morning. Unpopular opinion. I don't particularly care much for Deadpool, which I feel like the fact that I, as much on the internet as I am, makes me an outlier because everyone loves Deadpool. He's so funny. People love Deadpool so much. I don't really care much for Deadpool. I don't think I'm not going to be like, he's not funny. He's not this. No, like I saw Deadpool 1. I didn't see 2. It was fine, but like just as a character, like, I don't know. He's fine. I don't particularly care much. I don't hate him, but like I feel he's super overrated.
I think he's definitely overrated. I think that Ryan Reynolds has brought a lot of life to his character and has really brought him into the limelight a lot more than he was. Like, there was always Deadpool hardcore fans, right? But I think it definitely brought it more mainstream, especially, I mean, gosh, I remember when the first one came out, there's insane amounts of merch and Deadpool was everywhere. But I'm definitely more excited for the Wolverine aspect of this movie because Wolverine, I mean, he's the bread and butter of the mutant world. But
which is also interesting. I think people would say the same about Wolverine, that Wolverine is like overrated.
I could definitely agree with that also.
Other like Marvel characters. There was a time I really, really loved it. I still like him. I think he's more interesting than Deadpool.
I wholeheartedly agree.
As a character, I would agree. But I think Deadpool allows for commentary through the fourth wall breaks that are really, really intriguing and like really neat to be able to, like, for instance, Deadpool 2 commenting on like, Fox and budget and stuff and all that jazz, right? And like, I mean, like, I think that's really cool to like have a character that can kind of fourth wall break and kind of like give you maybe some like thinly veiled like critiques or acknowledgments of things, like maybe not going so well or whatever, or like, like characters and all that stuff. Like, I think that there's a unique opportunity with a character who does that I think that they really take advantage of with Deadpool specifically.
Right. No, I would agree with that. I would agree. Well, and David, you're the only one on the podcast right now who has seen it. Did you like it? No spoilers, but did you enjoy it? Was it a good movie?
Yeah, I really liked it. Yeah, I think
is it going to save the MCU, David? Because this is the last last chance before the MCU gets shut down.
I think that this movie will do way better than any MCU movie has done in a while. So I think that's saying something.
But this is something I actually like as far as that goes. Of like, it'll do better. It's just fan service again. Like, Spider-Man No Way Home. I liked Spider-Man No Way Home, but again, it's like a lot of fan service. And people being like, oh, we want like new stories. We want new this. And it's like, guys, like y'all aren't going to see it. Y'all aren't going to see these movies. People didn't see the Marvels. People really didn't like it, right? Eternals. People didn't really like it. But you know what? Freaking like, let's watch Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2, right? Let's watch the third Deadpool movie. You know, like it's just kind of like, I don't know. I'm a bit annoyed about it.
That's totally
I can
fair
see that.
to point out.
I think it's interesting, like, because the TVA have been in the trailers and stuff, and so I mean, like, I think that's an interesting angle, and yeah, I don't know, like, seeing like how they like integrate certain things, like, could be interesting,
If they did start doing more like side stories, everybody wants new stories, like you're saying. If they started diving into the mutant universe way more, I would be totally on board. They are my favorite out of all of the MCU. And I was talking to Travis about this today. Like, I feel like the one thing that the mutant trilogy, it's not trilogy, the mutant timeline, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, does really well is I love that they take sometimes the most like unusual, strange, but mundane mutant abilities, and they team up and they make awesome teams, and it's all about teamwork, and it's super fun. Whereas like you have the MCU Avenger guys who all of them are so super great all on their own, and sure they like team up, but it doesn't feel the same, and like the mutants are always fighting for their rights and to belong, and I feel like it's so powerful. I love it. It needs more attention.
No, I would agree. I think that I really would love for them to explore. I want to see the MCU takes on the characters too.
Yes.
Right? Like,
yes.
A lot of people didn't like the Fox version of Rogue, for example. I am interested. What would an MCU take on Rogue be? Super cool stuff. Yeah, because I mean, the X-Men movies, man, I loved those movies.
So
like
stellar.
pre-MCU, they were so good.
This is a whole podcast on itself, essentially. But like, I enjoyed the Fox movies when they were coming out. I enjoyed the characters and stuff and all that. And I still enjoy going back and watching them, even if they're definitely a way lower tier than anything MCU has done. Anything MCU has done, I would say. But the inconsistency between movies of like
the
rough. Characters,
Real bad.
Their powers, like even like their motivations or whatever, and all of that, it's just wild. It's like Star Wars now, like there's just like no rhyme or reason to a lot of it. Which is really, really frustrating.
I saw a post on Threads where they were like, Kevin Feige's talking to Hugh Jackman of possibly reprising his role as Wolverine in MCU projects. And let me say this.
Wow.
Leave that man alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
I can't believe he even came back for Deadpool.
I would be shocked if that was true.
I was shocked.
I would be shocked if that was true.
So tired. I am so tired of it. Like, it's been his last Wolverine movie, like the last
3
4
times.
movies where he's been Wolverine. Like, I'm just like, listen, like at some point, like, just stop.
Yeah,
just stop.
Totally.
Let him retire. Or is it's like Hugh Jackman must be terrible with money. That he needs to keep coming back. You know what I mean? That he's just like, please put me in, Kevin. Put me in, Kevin. I'm broke, bro. I'm broke. And he's like, me, freaking at the casino all the time or whatever. Or he's like, I invested all of my money into this, and
between like, starring on Broadway and like doing all these other musicals and stuff. And
yeah, like I need some of that Wolverine money. I need some of that Marvel
Johnny,
money.
you might be right. Pyro just brought up the fact that he just got divorced. I didn't know that.
I didn't know it either. Hey guys, everyone listening, Hugh Jackman back on the market, baby.
Yes. Oh, yes. What I've been waiting for since I was 7 years old.
But like, I'm just so let him go. You know what I mean? Let him go. Let someone else be Wolverine.
Or just like don't do Wolverine, because again, there's so many so cool mutants. Like, bring some other people to the spotlight.
I only watched the first episode of X-Men 97.
Incredible show, by the way. Totally worth watch.
Watch it all, please.
In the first episode, I was like, wow, they did it. They made Cyclops cool.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Could you imagine Scott Summers finally cool? I just can't. But even still, Johnny, as the show goes on, so not cool again. So maybe if you like Scott in the first episode, don't watch anymore, because again, every time I'm like, Scott, you're so whiny and so indecisive.
No, that's not what. But his power was cool. Like I'm specifically talking about when he jumped out of the plane and he used without a parachute and he used his power to like land. I was like,
super stellar.
Because I feel like Cyclops is like the Hulk. Let me lay out for you everything that happens in every interaction with Cyclops. Oh wow, Cyclops is great. Oh man, Cyclops, we love Cyclops. Guess what? Took your glasses off, bro. Now you got to just sit here with your eyes closed like a loser. And then someone's like, Scott, open your eyes. And he's like, no. And they're like, trust me, Scott. And he does, and he blasts somebody, right? Like at the right moment. And it's just like the Hulk. They're like, Hulk's so strong. Hulk's so strong. Freaking gets wrecked every time. Every time the Hulk comes out, the Hulk gets wrecked. You know, like, so to see Cyclops be cool for literally 3 seconds, I appreciated it. I was like, oh, nice.
I just love how inconsistent his powers are too. You know, like sometimes he's like, whoa, so powerful, he can blast through like several city blocks, and then sometimes it's not that powerful. It's just kind of interesting.
Well, especially in the Fox movies, right? Because like sometimes his powers are heat, sometimes they're energy or whatever.
Right. That's it. Sometimes it's concussive force, other times it's heat.
Yeah. But the other thing that X-Men 97 does really, really well is it doesn't focus on Wolverine.
Right.
So that's definitely a plus. It very much focuses on the team as a whole, and I think it does an excellent job at that.
And I loved Magneto. Incredible. I can't say a bad thing about that show other than
Magneto is a character I would love to see in the MCU. I actually talked about this with Travis off podcast but I don't know how they could bring him into the MCU, because being a Holocaust survivor is such a huge part of Magneto's character, and the MCU being based in current timeline, right, of like 2025 or whatever. Like for him to be a Holocaust survivor, unless he like somehow as a mutant was not aging, like it's just one of those things.
To a lot of the mutants though throughout the show, a lot of them have weird not aging capabilities, like Mystique herself. The way her cells regenerate and whatever, she could be 40 years old and still have the cells of a 17-year-old kind of thing. So
gross.
She's gonna live a long time.
That sounds awful.
It makes sense when like Sabretooth and Wolverine live a long time and have been a part of every American war because of their regenerative abilities, but they don't ever touch on that with Magneto. So
also, Sabretooth gets weird eyebrows at one point, right?
He does,
as opposed to the Origins movie. Yeah. I do want to see it, but you know, especially in the situation I'm in now with 2 young kids and all of that, I don't think I'll get a chance to see Deadpool in theaters. Oh, but here's the other thing. So like I was talking with Travis and I brought up I haven't seen Deadpool 2, and he immediately was like, you need to watch Deadpool 2 before you see it. And then he was like, you need to watch Loki season 1 and season 2. You need to watch Deadpool 2. You need to watch all the Fox movies. You need to watch Logan. You need to watch this. And this is the problem with the MCU, because it's like, hear me out, everyone listening. No, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to do your nerd homework. I want to watch one movie. I've seen most of the movies. Let me watch it. As far as I know, spoiler for Deadpool 2, doesn't Deadpool 2 just cancel itself out anyway in the ending? Like he like goes around and like ties up all like the loose ends or whatever. Who freaking cares? It's Deadpool.
And kills the Fox Deadpool flat out. So
it's Deadpool. It's not like like this is the problem with the MCU though. Like the fact that people are like, oh, you're gonna watch the Marvels, you need to watch like multiple Disney Plus shows to be able to watch it. It's like, guys, as soon as you say homework, like I'm so out. I'm so like I wanted to just watch I wanted to spend 2 hours to watch this movie. Now you're telling me I can't watch it until I spend 40 hours watching other stuff before I can do this 2-hour movie. No, thank you.
I definitely don't think I'm going to get to Loki.
Yeah, I'm a grown man now. I'm not a teenager who has all the time in the world. I ain't got time for that. That being said, Loki season 1 and 2, do watch them. They're fantastic. But don't watch them so you can watch Deadpool 3.
Just watch them
them
to
because
enjoy
they're
them.
just great. Watch it. No, because of that. Because you know what? I think if I watch Deadpool 2 now, because I need to watch it to watch Deadpool 3, I'm not going to like it. There's no way that movie, like, it would have to be so incredible to win me over for the fact that I feel like I'm being forced to watch a movie. You know?
I think the thing that bothers me the most about Deadpool 2 is the fact that the man who plays Cable is also the man who plays Thanos. And to me, that just gives me big ick. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Actually, you want to know the reason I didn't watch Deadpool 2? One of my friends here in Japan who really liked Deadpool, I was going to watch Deadpool. Well, there's two reasons. One, there's like a PG-13 version that I own. David was like, sucks. You should watch the PG-13 version first because I haven't seen the rated R version, because he was like, I wonder if you would like it to watch the PG-13 version. Like, because he was like, because like to go from the rated R version to the PG-13 version, it sucks. But for someone who hasn't seen it, maybe it's not bad. And I was willing to participate in this experiment. Granted, I have not watched it. I haven't watched either of them. So, but here's the other thing. One of my friends who likes Deadpool, she's not crazy about comic book movies, but she likes them. She was like, "Oh, I didn't like Deadpool 2." And I was like, "Why?" And she said, "Oh, well, because everything that he makes fun of in the first movie, he like becomes in the second one. So it's like not fun. It's not funny."
That's fair.
Like,
yeah.
And that was such like an honest thing that I was like, "Oh wow, I don't want to watch it." Yeah. Like it just becomes a big superhero movie, which is what he was making fun of in the other movie.
I think my favorite part of Deadpool 2 anyway. This is semi tool. Semi spoiler here, but it's my favorite part is when he makes the joke about X-Force. Like, loved it when his outfit like magically changed because he got covered in dust. He's like, X-Force, and it's like, but like literally that's my favorite part.
Honestly, the X-Force part to me is like the only really memorable part of Deadpool 2 that I can think of. Yeah.
Domino is super cool though. She was a fun addition.
Domino's super cool. Yes. Yeah.
Again, another mutant with like a crazy mundane, like who cares power. Totally
Isn't
rad.
Her power that she's lucky.
She's lucky. Yeah. She gets by just by being lucky.
She's just Irish.
It's very not Irish, but yes.
Well, you guys have any closing comments? That should be about it. Anything you want to say? Go see Deadpool 3, Wolverine. Is that the consensus?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Go see it, but make sure you do your homework first. You got to watch X-Men 1. You got to watch X-Men 2. You got to watch X-Men 3, The Last Stand. You got to watch the Logan Origins movie. You got to watch the Wolverine movie. You got to watch
Daredevil,
Logan.
Elektra,
you got to watch X-Men First Class. You got to watch X-Men First Class 2. You got to watch X-Men First Class 3. You got to watch Daredevil. You got to watch Elektra. You got to, you got to watch Days of Future Past. You got to watch
all the
Loki season 1. You got to watch Loki season 2. You need to watch Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Thor, Thor 2, Thor 3, Thor 4, Captain America, Captain America 2, Captain America 3, Avengers 1, 2, 3, and 4, Doctor Strange 1 and 2, Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, The Amazing Spider-Man 1, 2, Spider-Man The No Way Home trilogy. You need to watch Black Panther 1. You need to watch Black Panther 2, Ant-Man 1, 2, and 3. You need to watch The Eternals. You need to watch WandaVision. You need to watch The Marvels. You need to watch Loki. Dark Phoenix. Yeah, that's another. That's First Class 4. You need to watch. Did I include? Oh, you need to watch the Captain America, Falcon and Winter, whatever.
Miss Marvel.
You need to watch that one. You need to watch the Bucky one. That doesn't matter because they're gonna address it again. Yeah, you need to watch Miss Marvel. You need to watch Secret Invasion. You need to watch. You got to watch
Agent
all of
Carter.
that. You got to watch Agent Carter. You got to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Daredevil season 1, 2, 3, and 4. She-Hulk, Jessica Jones season 1, 2, and 3. The Punisher season 1 and 2. Iron Fist season 1 and 2. Luke Cage season 1 and 2.
What's the team up called?
Oh, the Defenders. You need to watch the Defenders.
Yeah.
You need to watch Moon Knight. You need to watch What If season 1 and 2. And after you've watched all of that, you need to watch Guardians 1, 2, and 3 as well.
Sure.
Did I miss
Truly
anything?
sounds miserable. I'm sure you missed quite a few
Doesn't it-
actually, but
Doesn't this hold on?
so
what I
miserable.
described to you sounds
I'm
like
exhausted
hell.
just hearing
That's
you talk
someone-
It
about
sounds
it.
awful. Like every single one of those movies, I have enjoyed.
This is a clip,
And
by the
most
way.
of those
I'm going to go
series.
back and clip this. You need to watch all of this, and then at the end of that, you can finally watch Deadpool and Wolverine, and you'll get it. If you don't
will
watch
get
it,
You'll get
you won't
everything
get
about
it.
it.
If you don't watch it, you won't get it. That's it.
You'll miss it. You'll
I
miss
probably-
the nuances and the Easter eggs and
Yeah.
the everything.
You might
Yeah.
as well. You might
You
as
should
well
just
won't
bring a
even understand it.
textbook with you to the movie
Yeah.
so you can get all the references in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll be a loser. Everyone will say you're a loser if you didn't watch all of those and you watch it. People will be like, wow, fake fan. On that note, make sure you give us a good rating and you like and do all of those things. And yeah, we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
I just want to say something before we end. Whenever I say bye, I also give a peace sign for some reason, even though no one can see it. I'm always like, bye, peace sign, right? And then, yeah. Anyway, bye. Get out of here, Craig.